Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I'm surprised that so many people seem to be interested in what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to do before or during Thursday night's NBA draft. There's some optimism with the choice of Coach John Beilein, who got his first dose of Cleveland, as the Cavs, tied with two others, had the best opportunity to get Zion Williamson with the first pick, but instead got number 5 in a draft that stops at 3. Remember, the Cavaliers won only 19 games this past year, and they look like the starting lineup, unless there's a trade, will consist of Colin Sexton, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. That, of course, presumes that LeBron-James and Rich Paul don't force a trade so the Lakers could get their hands on Love or Thompson. You don't go from 19 wins to the playoffs without the addition of a superstar or at least 2 very good other players. LeBron James is not walking through that door anytime soon. The Cavs are facing many years of mediocrity at best. Bud Shaw is not mediocre. He's the best, and he's here tonight. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year, soon to be 24, and of course seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Bud Shaw from WKYC.com is with us, and let's see, what's happened in the last week? Anything? John Patrick sent in daily double how come quickies all the time. That's something new.
I think he's trying to become one of Fallon's writers.
You think so?
Yeah. He's got a head start on me, at least. It's funny stuff. He does a really nice job with those.
Yeah, he does. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. Indians a loser last night to Texas. They'll try again tonight. And Minnesota lost to the Red Sox yesterday by a score of 2-0, so that lead still hangs in at 10. I want to talk about your opening. I want you to do your opening comment soon, but before that, just a quick touch on the Indians down 10. Any chance at all to catch up with Minnesota?
It just feels so unlikely. I got to say, when I saw Clevenger come off the mound to field.
Yeah, he broke his leg, didn't he?
I just thought, oh boy, this season is really, they're really trying to tell us something here. And he stayed in the game, and his velocity was good, but you know, he's got to be a little rusty too, right? He's not going to be the same pitcher he was when he walked off a couple months ago. So it has that feel less of just running in quicksand a little bit. And until I see Jose-Ramirez, Clevenger, Bauer, who's been great the last couple starts.
Yeah.
Kipnis, Kluber, those guys that they were counting on heading into this, until I see them and believe that they've turned their seasons around, it's hard to believe that they've got enough there to eat up a 10-game deficit.
Yeah, a little bit later we'll be checking in from Cincinnati, Marisa Contipelli, who now works with the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk about what the Bengals think about what the Browns have done and where they're headed. That'll happen a little bit later, but what is happening right now is an opening comment. That's from Bud Shaw. Bud, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Les. Anthony Davis is now a Laker, joining LeBron James and who knows who else in Hollywood. If you're still angry at LeBron for the decision too, you might be further angered by the latest attempt at building a dream team in a major market. But not me. James spent 11 years in Cleveland, his first 7-year tour surrounded by modest talent at best. Based on last season in LA, it looked as if he would play out the next 3 years of his career as a playoff afterthought. The Anthony Davis trade gives him a chance to finish his career chasing championships in May and June. I don't know that the Lakers are instant favorites in the West, but with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant likely sitting out all next year, the path is certainly clearer for James to lift the trophy one more time. Do I expect Cavs fans to celebrate this development? Not really. But if you're a basketball fan, the NBA just got a whole lot more interesting, and that's a good thing. And Les, I have a feeling you probably disagree with me.
Well, you've been saying that for several months, years now, and that's not true. Generally, I do agree with you. What I
I don't
don't
think
agree
anybody's cheering for LeBron James to go out on top again, but I think that's going to be an intriguing team now.
Yeah, depending on what they add, they can't go with what I mean. They have nothing behind
Sure.
them right now. The one narrative I don't understand and don't like is, well, he got us a parade. How did you like the parade? He got us a parade, so it's okay to do anything you want. I don't agree with that. I think that, yeah, they won the championship and we had the parade. Why not go and defend it instead of heading off to Hollywood?
So you're more angry with him for leaving the second time than the first?
I don't get angry at people anymore. Well, I'm angry.
You have a bigger problem with him leaving the second time than the first time?
Yeah.
Or equally?
No, a little more on the second time.
Interesting.
Because I sort of expected him to, after the first time, I thought he was going to come back way at the end of his career and sign off and go out into the sunset.
So you're
which would have
ruling
been a
out
bad
a
idea.
third return. Are you ruling out a third return at age 38 to play with his son?
No, I'm not ruling out anything. Now, how is he going to manage it? How's he going to manage? You talk about tanking games. He'll tank enough just to get whatever pick LeBron Jr. is?
Well, one of the things I think was interesting about the NBA season is the way Toronto finished as strongly as they did with Kawhi Leonard playing as well as he did, and how he was shut down for many back-to-back games during the regular season.
Right.
Purposely, not because he was hurt. And I have a feeling you're going to see more and more of that in the NBA. And then you have fan bases waiting for that one trip in from Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and they're going to come in and LeBron's going to be sitting out for, load management or whatever they want to call it. It's going to be interesting to see how teams deal with it because look what happened to these stars late in the playoffs. I mean, was that fatigue? Who knows? I don't think
the guys, whether it's Klay Thompson, whether it's Kevin Durant or LeBron James, eventually when you're playing into June every year, at that level of that velocity, for lack of a better word, I'm not surprised guys wear down. I mean, LeBron James is the epitome of the gold standard of being in shape, and look what happened to him.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how much if they were still in the hunt, maybe he does play, I don't know, but it was smart on their part to just sit him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But things have to give way. Eight straight finals taking you into June and almost no rest. The NBA season with the championship just ended last week.
Yep.
Remember when, the Cavs have been off, it seems like months and months and months. And there's still a couple of months before they start again.
Yeah, that's that April to mid-April to almost late June now, third week of June is a long stretch on top of an NBA season.
And then it's 100. How many games is that? 120 games if you go that far.
Yeah, at least 100.
100. You got some exhibition games. You got then you got the regular season. It's brutal, and you wonder why the playoffs just look better, or people say I won't watch until I watch until the playoffs come along. Yeah, it's a different game when the playoffs come along.
You can't help but try to conserve energy.
Yeah, you don't know who's taking the night off, even if they're on the floor.
It's going to be a while before you see this team.
Which team?
This Cavs team in May and June.
Well, if you just listen to my
I know.
commentary.
I'm just saying, it's going to be. You're right. It's going to be a long time.
I mean, what do you do?
I don't know what you do unless you draft well. You draft the way the Warriors did a number of years ago. Right. They drafted Draymond. They drafted Klay Thompson.
Way
they
down
drafted
the list.
Steph Curry. And then you add you get so good that free agents want to join you. Yeah. That's the only way you can do it in these markets.
Yeah, we're back to the point where no free agent is going to come to Cleveland for the Cavaliers. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Bud Shaw, WKYC.com, is with us, and we'll continue on. We'll find out what the Cavs are going to do. Marisa Contipelli will join us just a little bit later. We'll find out what our friends down in Cincinnati, the Bengals that is, what they are thinking about their competition with the Cleveland Browns. We'll check that and more when we get back. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, today is the 18th of June. George Mikan, the first big man in basketball. Interesting. You ever watch film of him to see how bad he was as a player compared to today's game?
I know, he looked like a giant back then, too.
Yeah, Lou Brock. Tie game, 1947. Sandy Alamarcine on the left, Antonio Gates out of Kent State. Amari Cooper, all born on the 18th of June. 216-575-0403. A little bit later, we'll check in with Marisa Contipelli down in Cincinnati, find out what the Bengals think about the Cleveland Browns. Tomorrow night, if you're a longtime Indians fan, Mark Summer is going to be here. He's putting on, well, he wrote a book, but he's also talking about the return of Rocky Colavito coming back to Cleveland. That's on July 5th at the State Theater. We'll talk about that, and that'll be tomorrow night. And if you're a Rocky Colavito fan, you'll want to tune in on that, that's for sure. Bud Shaw with us tonight here on cleveland.com. Bud, we were talking about what the Cavaliers do in the offseason here. You wonder why, and you reiterated what I said, that you got to, unless some fluke happens, you got a long way to go before you can be competitive again. Why would John Beilein want to come here? Because I think you keep hearing from people what a great move that was for him and for the Cavaliers. And you wonder why, what does he see in this if it's a 5-year deal and I don't see them getting playoff bound for those 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, they would have to draft really, really well. You know, we were talking, they would have to draft the way the Warriors did when they got Klay Thompson, where they found him in the draft, and Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And I don't understand what's in it for him, other than he may have just grown weary of you know, the college.
Yeah, going after guys who cheated.
Recruiting.
How about that?
And competing against guys that aren't as clean as he is, and that's his reputation, that he's really run a great program in Michigan. So other than him wanting to test himself at the highest level, as we always
which
hear.
some of them do.
Some of them do. But I don't think it's going to be an easy road for him, and it's going to be 3-4 years before this team is contending for division championships.
He also is going to see what a difference is 25, 28, 30 games versus 82 back-to-back, 3 and 4 nights, which he's never done before with travel in between. And at his age, I mean, he's seen everything there is to see in basketball except that.
Yeah. And let's face it, I mean, in college sports, these coaches are king. You know, what they say goes most of the time. They hold playing time over kids' heads. Kids can't just turn around and transfer without losing time, and so it's going to be the other part of this for him is the ego management of dealing with pros who are making more money than he is. And
although he's doing well.
He's doing well, and probably on this team he'll be making more money than most of them for a little while. But it's just going to be a totally different game. Now they're looking at him because he's a guy that has developed young players. He's taken guys that weren't blue chippers coming out of high school and helped turn them into lottery picks.
Right.
So, you know, maybe he can find these young guys that they're drafting in this year and, you know, hit the accelerator on their development.
That being said, I think more impressive than what you said is the fact that so many ex-NBA players have sent their kids to play under him because maybe the kid was not nearly as good as the father was or would become, and yet they felt under the guidance of Beilein, as opposed to maybe a bigger name coach. They entrusted their kids to go to play for John Beilein.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame that, you know, the difference between getting either that first or second pick and the 5th pick is probably a year or two of contention. It sounds crazy to say that.
No, I think you're right.
But, you know, if you got that one, you know, transformational player, then everything starts falling into place faster. People, maybe free agents, do want to come and play with you, as opposed to a guy that they might pick number 5 now, who they're not even sure what the guy is. He going to be an all-star player? Is he going to be a
you don't
very
know.
good productive player
Well,
for a
in
number
most
of
years,
years?
yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's the other thing. If you couldn't get players to come here to play with LeBron James, how are you going to get people to come here to play in Cleveland without LeBron James?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and the only way you do it is to get really good
In a couple years.
without a superstar. And
I don't know if you could do that in the NBA.
it is a tough call.
What do you see with Kawhi Leonard? Because it seems to me that the balance of power is shifting again. If he stays with Toronto, they probably would be the favorite, and if he, depending on where he goes, I don't know who would be the favorite in the East.
Yeah,
I mean, you would think that it would be Milwaukee, but not in their showing in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have inside information, but it seems to me that the people who do are all pointing at the Clippers and saying that's where he's going to end up.
Who, Leonard?
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
Well, that's an interesting battle for the headlines in
L.A.
in Los Angeles.
And so then at that point, like, the Warriors aren't going to be the favorite next year, right? I mean,
no, they already are third favorite.
Yeah, there's no way they can be. Even if the only way they could be is if they re-signed Durant and Thompson and both of them came back next year at some point. And I don't think that's going to happen.
No, we're not doctors.
Thompson will re-sign with them. I believe it. I believe he wants to play with Curry. He wants to be there. And if Durant moves on, which I suspect he will, I see Thompson re-signing, but it's going to be 2 years from now before they can put it all together.
I would have thought that Thompson might have wanted to play where his father is doing the broadcast, Michael Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you've got LeBron and Davis, maybe not.
Sometimes these guys' egos get in the way, and a guy like Thompson thinks, I want to go somewhere and be the main guy. He's not a main guy player, I don't think. I think he's a great player.
No, but isn't Kyrie more of a main guy player than Thompson?
I think so.
Yeah.
But Kyrie's, out there a little bit, too.
Yeah, he is out there. No question about that. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northfield Park is your place to go for live and simulcast racing. They've got that live racing, and it's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday evenings at the post time of 6 p.m. Open early every day, at least at noon, for simulcast action from all over the world. And there's a weekly Sunday contest with a top prize of $500 in cash. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Coming up, we've got a view from Bengal Nation. Marisa Contipelli now works with the Bengals. We'll find out what they're thinking about their team and their chances, but more important, what are the Bengals thinking about what the Cleveland Browns have done in the offseason? Back in a moment, more sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
My basement was a disaster. We tried carpet, we tried tile on our uneven basement floor, but nothing worked.
Moisture, dampness, even flooding will not harm Nature Stone. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of June and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen, for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back. Bud Shaw with us on a Tuesday night. More sports and Les Levine on cleveland.com. Bud, were you surprised the figures at the softball game, the Jarvis Landry softball game? Do you hear how many people allegedly were there? Over 5,000 in the rain.
Did Anthony Lima give that crowd estimate?
No, he got knocked out by the Toronto the
That Toronto crowd estimate parade is not official until Lima signs off.
Right. Well, they got the right way of looking at it. They put an odd number on it, 1.5 million. And I pointed out 500,000 is not an odd number. It ends in 0. But that's another story for another day. We the North. What is that?
I think it feels like kind of Game of Thrones-y. Were you a Game of Thrones fan?
I was not.
That's probably why.
So I missed that. I missed the whole joke.
Yeah, it's that whole we're the kingdom up north.
I see now.
And if he stays there, I think they're going to be the favorites for the next couple years.
Kawhi?
Yeah, if he stays. I just don't know if he will.
No, unless Milwaukee adds somebody.
Yeah, I mean
they had to be disappointed not winning the East, right?
Yeah, I mean. Certainly, but then again, it took it took Michael Jordan, I think, 7 seasons to get to an NBA Finals.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that now when you think of it? Because now we judge these guys on whether the greatest, we judge them on if they don't get there for a year or two, like there's something wrong with them,
I think most people would assume that he got there in a year or two, right?
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah. I may have just made that up, but I'll check it.
Slacker.
Break. Yeah. That's when the East had, the powerhouse in Boston for a while, and the Detroit Bad Boys were there, and there was always somebody blocking the way.
No question about it. Hey, let's go on down to Cincinnati, see what Marisa Contipelli is doing, now working with the Cincinnati Bengals. Hi, Marisa. How are you?
Hi, Les. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. It's great to talk to you.
Good to see you. Bud Shaw is with us.
Hi, Marisa.
Hi, Bud.
All right, tell us what's going on. Other than you moving down to Cincinnati, tell us what's going on with the Bengals. They got a new coach, new regime. What's going on there?
Gosh, it's certainly been new everything lately with the Cincinnati Bengals organization. New players coming in, new coaching staff, new scheme, new system. Lot of excitement happening. And this team has that feeling that it's going to be a lot better than the national media is kind of giving it, at least at this moment in time. So we just finished up mini camp last week. I'm excited for training camp to get going, to really see the guys in form, get those pads on, and really see what this coaching staff has to work with.
So the Bengals are not just saying, let's forget about playing the season, let's give the AFC North Championship trophy to the Cleveland Browns. They're not of that mindset, are they?
Absolutely not. They are not, Les. They believe that they can go out and win the AFC North this season. I mean, you have to obviously take note for what the Browns have done in this offseason. And for me personally, it's great to see them be, at least they should be a little bit more competitive they have in years past. But you just have to take note as to what they've done. And I'm sure it's something that the players have noticed as well.
Well, also they added a new coach, Zach Taylor, who takes over from Mr. Brown, or Marvin Lewis, rather. What's the initial thought on that, and what vibes are you getting out of him?
From everyone I've talked to, whether it's players, fellow coaches, even media members covering the team, there's a lot of great vibes going around Zach Taylor and just the type of offense that he is going to bring. He's going to be calling the plays this season. So while Brian Callahan is the offensive coordinator, Zach Taylor is really going to be the one in charge of this offense. He's already made it known they're going to play fast, they're going to play up-tempo, and you're going to see a lot of things that they haven't done in years past. I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with John Ross and how they utilize him. He missed his rookie season due to injury last year in his sophomore campaign. Had some flashes at times. I believe it was 7 touchdowns, all of them coming in red zone situations. So Zach Taylor's offense is going to be something to really be excited about, to seeing once it really does get off the paper, and you see the guys really going through the motions, and he has been tough on his players. Guys have already talked about how they're kind of going through quizzes randomly during team meetings. That's something they haven't really experienced before, being put on the spot and making sure that they know exactly what is happening in a given play, not just specific to their position.
Well, have you held, we'll get to Bud here in a second, but have you held the secret on long enough that you're a Clevelander settling in, spying in the compound of the Cincinnati Bengals? Have you let them know that yet?
I made that loud and clear the moment they hired me, Les. It was not a very well-kept secret at all. I got a lot of jokes during my first few months, like, oh, are you really a spy? But I assured them I am not. I'm fully committed to working for the Bengals organization, and I'm just glad they took a chance on a Clevelander.
All right, Bud, you had something?
Yeah, Marisa, where does this organization think Andy Dalton is right now at this stage of his career, and what is his contract status there?
No, that's a great question. So Dalton has 2 years left on his contract, and Zach Taylor made it known that one of the reasons he wanted to take this job in Cincinnati was to get a chance to work with Andy Dalton. He was very familiar with his time. He was also in Texas when Dalton was playing at TCU, so he was familiar with him back in the college game. He's spoken highly of him, especially for what Dalton did in his 2015 season before getting hurt and missing the remainder of that year. So Zach Taylor's a quarterback guy. It's going to be interesting to see just how he works with Andy. And, a lot of people are saying that Dalton could be poised in the right system to have his best season since 2015. And that's absolutely something the Bengals need.
Marissa, you said earlier that the Bengals think they're every bit as part of the AFC North as anybody else. What are they really thinking about the Browns and what the Browns have done? And are they concerned about it? I mean, they used to look at the schedule and just say, well, there's 2 wins there. I don't think they're saying that anymore.
No, but I don't think you can pencil those in as 2 W's, as we even saw last season when the Browns were making some changes. But, the Bengals have so much going on change-wise themselves that they've really just been keeping a straight laser focus on the Bengals and what they need to do and what they need to improve on as we head into July and the start of training camp and preseason. But I will say, if I'm some of those cornerbacks on the Bengals team, I mean, you have to notice the looming large addition on that Browns wide receiver core now. So it's going to be a little different having a big target like Odell Beckham Jr. kind of going to be flashing there with Baker Mayfield. But like I said, it's something you want to see. You want to have competitive, good football on Sundays, and something that's certainly welcome to the division.
Marissa, one more for me. How do you think they did in the draft, and did they address their biggest needs?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in that first round, going after Jonah Williams from Alabama. They've made it clear that he is going to be their left tackle of the future. So he was a little banged up during minicamp. So, we'll have to wait and see what his prognosis is and kind of once you kind of get him into the scheme and everything. But they've really made a commitment the last 2 years of upgrading that offensive line by taking Jonah Williams, taking center Billy Price last season, who had some injuries of his own but is fully healthy at this point in time. So the offensive line had continued to be one of the biggest question marks going into this offseason for the team. And then the second one would be the linebacker position, which they took Jermaine Pratt in the 3rd round this year. So, it's going to be interesting to see just how he fits in to the scheme as well. They took Malik Jefferson a year ago, who kind of had some difficulties under that defensive system that was being installed last season. So hopefully he fits in well with this new coaching staff. But I mean, other than that, I think the Bengals have absolutely addressed the positions they needed to in this recent draft.
Marissa, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to keep in touch with you all season, if that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure.
That's terrific. And I know you're going to do a great job down in Cincinnati with that team down south. Good to see you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Marissa.
Thank you.
Marisa Contipelli down in Cincinnati. She does a terrific job. We did several years together, and always professional, and she'll do a great job with the Cincinnati Bengals. When we get back, Bud, I want to talk, well, first of all, I want to talk about the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't catch us during the show, 23 other hours of the day, you can call 216-200-6650. Call anytime, leave a message, try to keep it short. We'll use the best messages in future shows. That's the voicemail of Truth and Reason. But the Duke Johnson situation lingers on with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if you have new thoughts about it, but you do.
I
Can't
do.
wait to hear it. Bud Shaw with us. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history, June 18th, 1950. Bud remembers this game. The Indians scored 14 runs in the first inning, and then they hold on to beat the Philadelphia A's 21-2. You're from Philadelphia. Would you have been around for any Philadelphia A's game? When did they leave to Kansas City?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Well,
I don't remember that as a kid. I was born in 54. So
54.
So maybe they did that in the late. Well, the Whiz Kids were 19.
Yeah, but there was the Phillies.
Yeah.
Well, when did the A's move?
Yeah, before the Phillies became.
Oh, that could be
right.
We'll have our crack staff.
Yeah, don't we have a crack staff anymore?
Staff? You know, Brian decides to get married, and now we have nobody looking up stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. I just don't remember that, Les.
I said that Andy Baskin was here last night. I said we had a little send-off for Brian who got married on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave a toast. Basically what that was is that marriage is one of the great institutions we have in the United States, but then again, so is Alcatraz.
I'm sure Allison would love to hear you say that.
Yes, yes. Well, she has heard me now that I think about it. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Emails during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. All right, you have a new thought on Duke Johnson?
Well,
let's hear it.
It might not be categorized as a new thought, but you know, my former colleague Mary Kay Cabot had written something for cleveland.com saying that she thought it was time that they make a move now, that clearly there are some relationships that have been strained there and maybe broken. And I think she was referring in one part to Baker Mayfield coming out so strongly and I think a little foolishly in saying, if you're not with us, you know, get on the train, and if you're not with us, get out, or get off. Well, that's what he's saying he wants to do. He wants to go somewhere else. But so, I mean, it's not like it's up to him. And I think he's a pro. I think he'll come back to camp. I think he's had his say, and I think he's going to come and say, listen, I'm here to play football. And I think.
Well, he didn't say that, though.
But he did say both things. When he came in, they asked him if he still wanted to be traded, and he said yes, and he told them why. But he said, "I'm here, and I'm not going to be a bad teammate."
Right.
And I trust that he's not going to be.
Okay. Do you think that the guys in the locker room got offended by something that Baker said when Baker says, "Get off the train here"?
That was a story that Mike Silver for NFL Network, who I happen to think is a very good reporter, wrote. Now, it doesn't mean he had his sources correct this time.
Well,
but,
you know who his sources
or that his
are.
Sources, well, I don't know who all his sources are. I know he was close to Hugh Jackson at one point. But I don't know. It wouldn't have surprised me if a couple of veterans said, hey, listen, we don't criticize each other here. Like if the team, maybe somebody brought that up to him. I don't think they brought it up to him as, boy, you're really losing the locker room by doing what you did. They may have just given him some friendly advice. Like,
do you think Baker thought that thing out, or it just came to him, or he said, I think I'll help the situation? He couldn't have thought he was hurting the situation.
Yeah, I don't know, but what he did was inflame it in some way, just by talking about it. And that's why I think maybe they would have said to him, hey, let things like that go. That's between him and management, let it go. Mary Kay's other point is that his agent, Duke Johnson's agent, is married to the guy from 2 Live Crew, Uncle Luke, right? And so Luther Campbell's on social media criticizing Baker Mayfield now for his stance against Duke Johnson. And Mary Kay was saying, well, that's it. You can't have this kind of thing. And my only point on all that is that it was June 7th or 8th when this was happening. They don't even see each other again until the end of July.
No, but at some family reunion, Duke has to say to the agent, hey, this is my deal with my
Yeah,
agent
yeah.
and the team.
And I agree with that, but
let's keep him out of this.
I don't see any reason why this organization should right now be saying, all right, we are done with Duke Johnson, or it's going to be a problem. If they get to camp and it becomes a problem again, then maybe they have to do something. But I think they're waiting to see another team lose a back that they're really counting on.
Right.
And at that point, maybe his value goes up, and they get a 4th rounder for him instead of a 5th.
Is that really what we're arguing about? 4th or 5th round, and that's it? It does make you wonder, though, if the season were to open today, and Nick Chubb got injured. You know, you don't have Kareem Hunt yet, and you would have to have you'd have to use the abilities of Duke Johnson.
Yeah, certainly more than you would as a 3rd down guy. I don't know if he's ever going to be an everyday back in this league, but he's certainly a valuable guy.
If Chubb got hurt, wouldn't you be happy with him right now based on the fact he's been here? He basically knows the offense. You know what you're going to get with him. You don't have to try somebody in here 3 different times.
I'd certainly be a lot happier with him than without him.
Right.
And that's my point, is that there will come a time when it makes more sense to deal him. And until then, it's not like it's going to tear the team apart in the first exhibition game.
No, and let's also remind people that as far as I know, he's never been a troubled guy.
No. He's always there. He's always there. He's always ready to play. He doesn't seem to get injured very often. He's got value.
Do you think that's a money play, even though he's signed for a couple of years?
No, I just think he heard John Dorsey when he was asked whether this Kareem Hunt acquisition would mean anything, would mean that they were going to look to part with Duke Johnson, and John Dorsey, the best he could say is not yet. And I thought those were poorly chosen words.
Well, don't forget, he's fairly new at this also.
Well, he's been a GM for a few years.
Yeah,
you know, and maybe he didn't mean anything by it other than, look, this isn't the time to talk about trading, but it came across that way to Duke Johnson. And somebody has said to me, it really wouldn't matter what Dorsey said. Duke Johnson's looking at limited playing time now because they've gone out and gotten Hunt, even more limited than what he was getting. And I understand that.
All right, as an esteemed member of the media, the local media.
Yes.
I think we can point to a certain time in any training camp where new people come into their jobs or from another city. They say, oh, the media's out to get us, or the media's portraying us this way and that way. Can you set the record straight that the media doesn't have meetings where they get together and decide what they're going to do?
Who are you going to go after this training camp? Yeah. No, it's not. It's not that way at all. I mean, generally you respond to. That's why my point about the Baker Mayfield thing is that if Duke Johnson had had his say and Baker Mayfield was interviewed about it and said, hey, look, you know, I just hope that's between him and the team right now, and I just hope that when he's here, you know, he's here and we can move forward. This wouldn't have been a big deal. It wouldn't have carried on for another 2 days, and it wouldn't be a topic of conversation again in July.
I didn't get your RSVP for the meeting that we called to. Everybody's got to go after Tyler Naquin. So you're going to be at that dinner?
I think you used to call meetings to go after Casey Blake, and most of us didn't show up for those.
That's correct.
No, nobody has that agenda. Nobody, you know.
No, there is no agenda.
Most of the guys that are out there are born and raised in Cleveland and have friends and family and everybody who wants to see the Browns win. So I don't know why people think that there's...
we don't talk to each other, let alone conspire.
Yeah, exactly.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, they've been with me about every day for almost 25 years. That's unbelievable. Unheard of in any market, that's for sure. Located in Tremont, 5 minutes out of downtown. Take the Abbey Avenue exit and swing under the bridge. That's where you're going to find it. Established in 1923. That was Mike and Bernie's grandparents who started the whole thing in the same location. They are the winners, the proud winners of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 restaurants in every year receive that coveted award. And to my knowledge, they are the only Cleveland restaurant to ever win the James Beard Foundation Award. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. Coming up, Bud, we ask you this. Is it time to give up on Jose-Ramirez? You think about that. Wow. We'll talk about it when we get back.
We may need a definition of give up, though.
That's true for a guy who's signed for a couple of years. Back in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
But I know you heard this, but that was a year ago. I mean, it was on the same date, June 18th, 1964. Second baseman Les Levine and his Sandlot infield teammates combined for 9 hits in a win at Edgewater Park. Al Feldman had 4, Bud Forsythe had 3, and John Collard added 2 hits as that infield combined for 9. That, I just want to go on record. That's my favorite one of the year.
You didn't hit into any double plays that day, did you?
No.
All right.
No, you'd have to hit the ball to do that. My coach gave me the international sign. I got up and he went like this, 3. Instead of we're walking and we're striking this guy out. All right, speaking of striking out, Jose-Ramirez. These numbers are shocking when you take a look at him. Let's take a look at his career. Just take a look at this for starters. Starting in 16, 11 homers, 76 RBIs, hitting .312. Next year, hitting .318, 29 homers, 83 RBIs, 39 homers in 18, and 105 RBIs. And then this, 4 home runs, 24 RBIs, batting .204. You want to explain that?
I wish I could. September and October of last year, I assume that is, right? Yeah.
All right, so here we are.
2018, month by month?
Yeah, this is it, month by month. 11 homers in in May rather. 25 RBIs, hitting .336. Then in June, 6 homers, 12 RBIs. July, it's 8 and 25. August, 5 and 16. September, October, with 2 and 11. So the question is, are we in the slump range? Well, this is what he's done in 2019. April, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, hitting .191 for the month. Hitting .245 in May with a couple of homers and 8 RBIs in June. 0 home runs and 7 RBIs. So I assume by the progression of the RBIs, it'll go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I mean, I'm not good at math.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
This guy was a MVP candidate a year ago.
Tom Verducci from SportsIllustrated.com wrote something in which he was looking for historical comparisons to what this has been, and an MVP candidate going from those seasons to what he's happened now. He thinks it's the biggest free fall in baseball history.
Well, over how long a period of time? In 1 year or 3 years?
I mean, over this period, over this two-year period, basically. And, you know, to look for comparison's sake, he found like Terry Pendleton, who was also a third baseman, kind of same body shape, with I think the Braves and the Cardinals.
Well, you talk about body shapes, that's Carlos Baerga, too.
Yeah, and, but he never was an MVP. He had good years. He was just never an MVP candidate. MVP. And I don't know what this is. And one of the things that Verducci pointed out, I think there's been this belief that, without looking at too far into it, that he hasn't been seeing many fastballs, right? That he used to hit fastballs, and now they're throwing him all this off-speed stuff, and he can't hit. Verducci, according to his numbers, he's seeing more fastballs now than he did before August 12th of last year, and he's popping them up.
Yeah,
and he's just
no question.
Is after hitting 39 homers, has he changed his swing? Is he trying to hit the ball up in the air?
Maybe he can do the reverse. He could get into the home run derby and regain his home run swing.
Maybe something would happen.
All right, so we have a question for our Facebook questionnaires. Is Jose Ramirez in a slump, or is what you see what you get? What would your response be?
It's almost like it's been too long to call it a slump. And
yeah.
You hate to say, I mean, he's only a 25-year-old guy, so the flip side of that is, are you going to write him off now and say he's never going to be the same again at age 25?
Let's take a look at what people had to say on Facebook. Rick May says, it seems like he's trying to pull every pitch, make use of the entire field, hit the ball where it's pitched, and be selective. Remember, Jose, you have a bat in your hand, not an 8-iron. Glenn Berger, I'd like to think Jose's in a long slump. I really think he needs some time off, a few days on the bench to relax and clear his mind, but the Indians' offense is so inept, the offense may in fact get worse with Jose on the bench. That's pretty scary. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Pepper Pike. We'll go to Marty. Marty, go ahead. You're on with Bud Shaw.
Yeah, hi, Les. This
Hi,
is
Marty.
Marty from the Wahoo Club.
From where?
The Wahoo Club.
Oh, okay. Oh, Marty Baker.
Just
Okay.
let you know.
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah. Because I have an unbelievable story, and I want you to know because you're not going to believe it. So you were talking with Andy yesterday about tipping.
Yes.
I got this great story. I have a client who's a dealer at the Jack Casino, and he deals in
the high rollers room, and I don't want you to tell who this person is.
No, I want to. Okay, there's a baseball player that played for the Indians.
Don't name him.
No, I'm not going to name him.
Okay.
And he was there about 7 or 8 hours. He won $2.1 million.
That number has gone up since I heard it, Bud, just to let you know.
Oh, you heard the same story? Okay. But, all right. But the best part of the story is the tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which number did you hear? And I'll compare it to what was made up for me.
Yeah, right. The tip was, according to my client, $500,000.
Yeah, that's the one I had heard also. Yeah.
You heard that too.
That's a good night.
Unfortunately for my client, they share the tips. So in other words, he didn't get all the money.
No. It's split between all the dealers.
That evening, they share all the tips. So
yeah.
each person got a few $1,000s.
Yeah, he still did okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they did pretty good.
All right, Marty. Just don't want you to give that name up, okay?
I sure won't.
All right, thanks. Good to hear from you.
But he had a very good career.
Thank you. You too.
That night he had a good career.
He had a very good career. He's one of Terry Francona's favorites.
Yes. Oh, don't.
What? I didn't say who it was.
I know. Well, everybody's a Terry Francona favorite.
Well, right, exactly. So that wasn't really even a clue, was it?
Well, sort of. It is funny, though. You know the game Telephone? Mm-hmm. That's sort of like Telephone. I've heard that story. It's the same guy that we're talking about, but the numbers
have changed. Huh? Yeah.
Right. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're going to continue on to phones, or are we going to move on one more time? All right. We're going to get some more calls, more people with other stories to tell.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of hot streaks, Jose Ramirez is still not on.
Got one hit in a row. Let's go. We're going to stay in Pepper Pike. We'll say hi to BP. Hello, BP.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing well.
Who was the previous caller? Was it William?
Don't do this. I asked him not to do it.
No, I didn't hear the previous caller. Was it William in Pepper Pike?
No.
Oh, no, Marty in Pepper Pike.
Oh, I'm sorry, because there's a guy named William in Pepper Pike who calls the fan.
Oh, he's always on basketball, yeah.
Yeah, and he, it's like, and I was curious.
No,
if he called
different Pepper Pike.
Is there nothing going on in Pepper Pike? Is that why you?
Yeah. What do you call people who live in Pepper Pike? Pepper Pikeans?
Yes. But it's been raining so much, we can't do yard work, so there's nothing to do but call sports talk.
Okay. What's on your mind? I understand there's a draft coming up.
Well, then you better close the window if there's a draft.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
There you go. You fit in here.
Yeah, but, it's funny, like, there's so many, obviously, I think, with sports talk, there's so many different outlets, and, there's so much talk about these picks. I think in the old days, when you had the 5th pick in the draft, you made the pick and you turned in the card, and that was it.
Yeah.
Now,
How far back do you go? How far back?
About this pick, and it's not even that desirable of a pick.
Yeah, you're right.
Like now there's a lot of rumors that, like the Atlanta Hawks are trying to trade picks number 8 and 10 for the 5th pick, and but to me, it's like
how
the
far
NBA,
back?
You only have. I'm sorry.
How far back do you go in Cavalier history?
My family has had season tickets since 1970.
Okay, so that's the first year of the Cavs. And that draft, Jim Lessig and Bill Fitch, they made picks from the back of Flair basketball cards.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and I understand Austin Carr was told that he was the number 1 pick in the draft. They notified him the next day at the school library.
Yeah, he was in a class.
Yeah, somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, buddy, you come out in the hallway. We got some news."
Right, exactly. So
well, now they know. The whole draft is already. They know the first 10 picks already. But
yeah,
as far as the 5th, I do not want to see the Cavs trade down. Whenever you trade down, you get a lesser guy. You get more quantity and less quality. And the Cavs need quality players. So.
Unless they think there's no difference between number 10 and number 5.
I mean, I still believe number 5 is a better player than number 8 and number 10.
I'm with you on that.
Stand pat with number 5. I do like DeAndre Hunter. ESPN's been playing back some of the key college games from the year on ESPN2.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of Virginia games, a lot of Duke games. They even had Texas Tech was on against USC. But I do like DeAndre Hunter. Seems like a sturdy, solid player. He's 6'7", 225. I mean, he's a winner. He outplayed Jared Culver in the championship game, so that to me means a lot. He's a money player when the chips were down.
Hey, BP, we got to move because we got to take a break here, then get back to our quickies for the day, and we will do that when we get back. Northfield Park, place where you can enjoy the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as well as Saturday with the post time 6 p.m. Open early every day for simulcast action in the weekly Sunday contest. Top prize, $500 in cash. That's each week. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. And we'll be back in a moment. One more time, Bud Shaw with us exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
My basement was a disaster. We tried carpet, we tried tile on our uneven basement floor, but nothing worked.
Moisture, dampness, even flooding will not harm Nature Stone. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of June and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Dave Bacon will join me. We'll also talk to Mark Summer, the return of Rocky Colavito, big event coming up at the State Theater in Playhouse Square. That'll be on the 5th of July. Rocky's 86 years old right now. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. Let's go to Masery, Ohio. We'll say hi to Chuck. Chuck, got about a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple things real quick, Les. I agree with the guy on Facebook. When the four guys batting below Ramirez in the order are hitting worse than or equal to him, what does it matter what you do with Ramirez? And all I've got to say, too, is hail to Matt Carpenter. Did you see what he did last night, Les?
No, I didn't.
He bunted the ball. They had the extreme shift on with all the infielders on the right side of second base.
Did he get a double?
He bunted the ball to the shortstop side, which the pitcher had to field. the pitcher chased the ball down and fielded it, and Carpenter got a double. So you got to find ways to beat the shift instead of getting rid of it.
Absolutely. They want to get rid of the shift. No, you make them get rid of it by hit it. Show them you can do that. You can bunt the ball or hit it to the opposite side. Then they'll give you more room.
I agree. And the reason for my phone call mostly, Les, is Mr. Shaw. Since I live on the border, I also subscribe to the Sharon Herald in addition to a couple of Ohio papers. And Bud Shaw's name was mentioned in the Sharon Herald in yesterday's sports column. Apparently, Bud, you were a teammate of one of the sports writers in Philadelphia, and he credits you for showing him or throwing the first curveball at him, which made him bad for life on hitting curveballs.
Who was the guy?
The guy's name is Ed Farrell. You remember that, Bud?
You buckled his knees?
Yeah, he was one of my best friends growing up, and he couldn't hit a breaking pitch to save his life. So.
Well, I hate to say this. I played some over 50 baseball with him, Bud, and he still can't. He's a good guy, but he still can't. So you ruined him for life.
Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it very much.
Very funny.
Good to talk to you. Let's go over some of this, and then you've got to grade John Patrick.
Okay, I don't have my regular marker, so I'm just going to verbally give him a score.
There's a blue one here somewhere. All right.
All right.
Somewhere. Yeah, verbally do it. All right, Cleveland Bill says, how did Cleveland let Marisa get away? She was very impressive today. She did
is
a
that
great
a how
job.
come quickie?
No, this is just a comment. This is just a this is just a thought, as in Cleveland Bill has another thought. Perhaps one aspect of the Beeline hire was the Cavs' hope that he could help them draft talented but undervalued college players in whom he saw something special over the past couple of years. I think that's correct.
Hey, that's what the Spurs, actually, that's what happened with Kawhi Leonard, right? He was drafted by another team but then traded to San Antonio.
Yes.
Giannis was also drafted 14 spots lower than Anthony Bennett. Do we want to relive that?
Cleveland Bill comes with another one. How come the Carpenter chairman could both table the measure and measure the table? That does have the essence of a quickie.
That does.
How come people can say, look at how quiet it is, but not listen to how dark it is?
Was that also Bill?
Here comes Mr. Gullible. Mr. Gullible, when I edit things, he gets mad at me. It's my show.
And he does know they're called quickies.
It's not more sports than Mr. Gullible. How come I got fired from the orange juice factory because I couldn't concentrate? How come I was a banker until I lost interest? And then Mr. Gulliver understands the nature of the beast. He says, hey, they can't all be Les Levine quality. All right, so John Patrick, the last half of one of his quickies yesterday was cut off by the printer, and he rewrote it. He says, how come the checkout girl asked me if I found everything okay? Why are they hiding stuff? These are the two that you have to judge now.
All right.
Ready? How come the seminar on time travel is being held 2 weeks ago? It's pretty good.
I like that one, yeah.
How come careers of Olympic skiers go downhill fast? Okay, those last two, verbally give us a number.
I know he's looking for a 10. No one has ever gotten a 10.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Until Nadia. No, who was the first one?
Yeah, Nadia Comaneci.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah, somewhere along the way, I think I've heard this skier one before. That's why I'm subtracting.
Nadia Comaneci might be watching tonight, so is that right?
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Well,
she was before Mary Lou Retton, if that's what you were thinking.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. So it was Nadia Comaneci.
It was Nadia Comaneci.
Yes.
Well, she's
that was
probably
when she was competing for Romania.
Yeah.
And her head coach was Bella Caroli.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking first American. She wasn't an American at the time.
She was not an American.
All right, that'll do it for us. Great job by the great Bud Shaw.
Wow.
Follow him at WKYC.com.
How come I've never heard that before?
We'll see you tomorrow. Now, I found the Sharpie.
Oh, now you found
You need it?
No, it's okay.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk some Rocky Colavito with Dave Bacon and Mark Summer and much, much more tomorrow night. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.